All right, Pat. The Twins unable to score runs is kind of
Yes,
you know what? It's actually the theme of the last 20 years, really.
it is really all the playoffs. The 18 straight losses are based on not being able to score runs, and
Yeah.
and this is based on not being able. And the funny thing is, now I think Javier is a good pitcher, Christian Javier, but the other guy had been terrible this year, and terrible for months anyway. And Dusty did not want to appoint him as his starter until after they won Game 3,
Yeah.
and you couldn't do anything with him either. So yeah, 6 hits and 28 strikeouts in 2 games. That's not going to get her done. So
And
anyway,
that's the thing, Pat, that came back to bite them though is the strike the complete inability to put the ball in play. I think they struck out something like 72 times in 6 playoff games again.
yeah, 73. I saw 73 in 6 playoff games. Right?
It's ridiculous.
Well, they scored.
Jeez.
They scored 6. They beat. They scored 6 runs one game, and but I don't know. They tried last night to put Solano in there instead of Kirilloff. They made up some injury for Kirilloff because they were mad at him, and put Solano in there at first base, and he struck out 3 times. He's not a strikeout guy, but yeah, it just they're the whiff and poofs that we talked about the whole first half of the season. They
Yeah.
1,654 for the world record for the season. I don't know. You got to, the Houston strikes out a lot too, but I guess you hit it out of the ballpark once in a while. The Joe Ryan thing would have been much more controversial if they'd scored any runs, taking him out, because Caleb, God love him. Great story. Minnesota, small town boy coming back at age 36, but he's been bad for a month.
Yeah.
And you come in, and the problem is, if any other year or until 2 years ago, when you have to face 3 batters, he wasn't. You bring him in to face the 2 lefties, but then he's got to face Abreu.
Yeah.
And he doesn't throw hard enough to get it past Abreu, and he just slaps it up off the right field scoreboard up there, and that's the ball game. I was really shocked though that he went and got Ryan that soon. He hasn't had that he hasn't done that this year. He hasn't been the quick hook guy really this year. Even when it wasn't Pablo or Sonny, he hasn't really been the quick hook guy, Rocco. But this obviously was designed. I talked to Falvey though, and he said it wasn't. They didn't say do this. It was just Rocco.
Interesting. Because outside of the one pitch, right? I thought. First of all, I think you got to score runs. So if you would have told me, however they get there, the Twins are going to allow 3 runs in 9 innings to the Astros tonight. Do you take it, or do you take door number 2? I would take it. So overall, it worked. But it was interesting that you got this guy pretty much dealing for the first 2 innings, except for one bad pitch. Was that enough to spook them? Was it more of I think they probably planned it a day or two in advance, regardless of what Falvey said.
I think Falvey might not have been inside the meeting. Maybe it was him and Judge Culk or something like that. But I just didn't see the need to go to Thielbar that quickly. Now they wanted him to face the 2 lefties. Obviously, he didn't want Joe to face the 2 lefties, but I thought he was throwing good enough to let him pitch another inning or so.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out to be as big a fiasco as it looked like, because Paddock came in and got 7 outs. You thought it was going to be 1 inning, 1 inning, 1 inning, 1 inning, 1 inning. Another good sign, I thought, the last of this playoff run was that we got to see the old Duran from the first half of the season. He was throwing strikes, throwing bullets, and every time he pitched in postseason, the adventure that he was providing was gone. He was throwing rockets. Here's what they need. They got to get a left. Sonny Gray's gone. Paddock's replacing him. Okay, that's it. Then you got Ober and Ryan. Those are your other 2 starters. Hopefully Louis Barlin can stand the bullpen. They got to get a left-handed starter someplace and a left-handed reliever. Thielbar, if Thielbar's back, it's as the second left-handed reliever. You got to have a better left-handed reliever than him, and you need a left-handed starter. They had Who made the left-handed start this year? Some guy.
Well, Keuchel made.
Yeah, Keuchel made some starts. That was the first left-handed start in like 800 games or something like that. They need a left-handed starter, and I don't think they have one in the system either. So they got to go find one. Sonny Gray's gone though, and Paddock will replace him. They're not going to spend the money for Sonny. They got some financial issues with the BSN bailout, and that's $40 million, and they're not going to replace that whole amount. So,
and they also like Brooks Lee can be ready in the first month or two if they want to say goodbye to. Polanco's an interesting one. Do you bring him back?
I think they'll try. I think they'll bring him back and then try to trade him. Don't you? I mean, Julian,
because they can exercise that team option. And they can
listen now. I know it's a different brain trust than we had when we decided to play Miguel Sano in right field because they didn't want him to be a DH at that young of an age. But you don't want Julian to be your DH. You want that, position to be. He's going to have to play second base. That's the only place you can put him. And he got better. I wouldn't say he's smooth out there, but he could catch a ground ball the last month of the year, which was an improvement. And so he's got to play second base. And if he starts swinging at more pitches, he's going to be a monster. But they got too many infielders, and and you got Correa for the next at least 3-4 years before that ankle that everybody was afraid of breaks down and has to be amputated or some damn thing.
And even when that happens, he could probably DH for a couple of years.
Yeah, but he's people thought, you move him to third. Why? He's the best shortstop in the game.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, but they certainly made progress this year. It's a lot better looking than it was. The other interesting thing next spring is going to be, they're probably going to make it an open competition between Larnach and Wallner for left field, don't you think? Wallner's had two little decent streaks and two really bad streaks. So what is he? What do you got there?
So Pat, if they do go out and get a starter, a southpaw starter, what do you think they trade for it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's, if they get one, it's not going to be a premier one. I'd like to see one. Hopefully it's not Tommy Malone. They don't bring him back again, but touchdown Tommy, we used to call him. But I don't know what they trade for him. They got, hopefully it'll be a veteran team that wants a veteran player like Polanco, and you can trade him. But I think Polanco's health problems make him real tough to trade too, don't you think?
Yeah, he's not really reliable for 150 games at this point. But it's funny, he's only 29. You think of Polanco, you think, God, the guy's. I think he made his major league debut when he was like 20 because they brought him up
the Marlins
super early. Yeah,
from like single A.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing about a rise in Julian yesterday, and I was surprised Louis only going to be 27 in April. He's 26. He must have been 20 when he came here, right?
He was
when they started playing him.
He was young. On the Twin side too, they have, they've got most of the guys that we're talking about here. Sonny Gray's in his 30s, but most of them are 28 years old or younger. They actually have a good collection of guys between 23 and 28 years old right now, just like they did 20 years ago. What
do you think they do in center field? Taylor is great defensively, but he doesn't hit much, and he's money. It's money they probably don't want to spend, but I don't think there's one on the horizon. I don't think they have they let the great Gilberto Celestino go, so they can probably get him back, but that's another question. It would be great if they had a young outfielder, and I don't know, maybe Austin Martin can become a center fielder. He's supposed to be.
What are they going to do with Buxton, Pat? Just bring him back and hope he can play occasionally?
Send him to the world's greatest leg surgeon and try to get him to, can you play with an artificial knee?
That's what I was going to say. I think he needs a knee replacement.
I don't don't think that works. I don't think that
Have
works.
we tried the Kobe Bryant, the
Yes, we
blood
have.
cycling thing? We've
Yep.
done that, and that didn't work.
We did that during the All-Star break the year that I think he went
Guess
to
what? That didn't work that
Dodger
good
Stadium.
for Kobe either. Kobe in his last year or two was not Kobe. He was somebody else. It was not Kobe. So I don't know what they do. I really don't, and they don't either. And this was a problem. They should have known that when he said, "Yeah, I'll take $100 million," they should have said, "Wait a minute here." Why is he willing to take $100 million when his value is like 180 if he's healthy?
We're like, let's lowball him and see what happens, and he instantly accepts it. You're like,
Right. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
That's true. Well, Carlos, basically, didn't they make Carlos some 3-year offer for 120 or something to extend his contract last year, and they didn't do it. Then they ended up, we'll give you 200. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, 150.
How about these Astros, though? We love to still boo them because they cheated a little bit. By the way, they won 2 games at Dodger Stadium that year. They didn't win them all. They got 13 runs once in Dodger Stadium.
And it is funny, like, so, when Altuve comes up and Bregman, but then Correa comes up, we're like, we love that guy, Correa.
They're booing Brantley, who wasn't there. He was still in Cleveland in 2007.
And we're booing Abreu. Are we booing Abreu because he was a White Sox, or just because we're mad that he hit a home run, or like?
Because he hit 2 home runs, I guess. But I think they have proven. I think they have proven over the test of time that they didn't need the garbage can to be a successful team, considering they're going to their 7th consecutive ALCS, which is insane. Amazing.
Yeah. Explain this, Patrick. Explain the Diamondbacks to me. They just swept the Dodgers. I keep going back to they looked so horse bleep when they came here. They looked awful.
They rebuilt their bullpen. They've got that seawall to close, and the first couple of times he pitched, he was bad.
Walnut.
But they got him to close, but then they got 2 other guys, and they got the 7, 8, 9 deal going. When they're ahead, they just pitch those 3 guys. And I think the Dodgers, they don't have starting pitching that they had. They don't, Kershaw gets hammered, and then they get Buehler's not around, and how's it pronounced? I think the guy who beat up his wife, or they don't have him either. So. Last year you finished 22 games ahead of the Padres and you got beat. And now all of a sudden you get beat in the opener by these guys and you start to pucker up, I would think, is probably the problem with the Dodgers. And it's.
You're talking about Urias. Urias.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Not Buehler. Buehler's hurt. Buehler's their best pitcher, and he's hurt. So he had Tommy John. But, they just. It's going to be interesting if they try to blame Dave Roberts for this. I doubt if they will, but they might end up firing him. But somewhere in the commissioner's office, they're a little nervous about TV ratings, I would think. You got an all Texas ALCS. You got Arizona. Now, if you get Philadelphia, Philadelphia or Atlanta will be a good draw. But it's not going to be great. But hey, last night. What the heck? Under 3 hours, right? Under 3 hours.
It was very snappy. Yeah. If you're gonna get it over quickly. If you're
238, not just under 3, 238 is glorious.
Is that what it was?
It was glorious. Just get out of the ballpark.
No, just move. Just some crisp. Win or lose, crisp.
What's interesting is you can play 6 innings in the time it takes you to get out of the ramp when there's 42,000 people there. It's unbelievable.
I ran into that Tuesday.
An hour after the game and still waited 20 minutes and had to bribe somebody to get in line, basically. So
Hey, there is a name. We've touched on a lot of Twins players here, but I was looking this up just out of curiosity before the show here. So Max Kepler, I'll quiz you guys. Max Kepler has 54 career postseason plate appearances.
Yes.
How many RBIs do you think he has?
3.
4.
0.
0?
He's been playing, and his first appearance was 2017, so he's been playing in the postseason for 6 years, not every year.
Yeah.
54 trips to the plate. He's never driven anyone home.
That's an interesting thing. You might be able to get something for him the way he played the second half. And I would, if I could trade him for a good left-handed, a medium left-handed pitcher, I'd do it because you don't know what you're going to see. He did play great, and everybody's mad about strike three last night to end the game, and he was probably right. The guy missed the pitch, but it's he did not come through for him, and he hit a home run. I thought he hit a home run. Didn't he hit a home run?
Kepler, and I don't
he hit a
think
home run
in this series.
in that
He had
Toronto
a double. He had a
No,
couple
Off the
doubles.
wall, yeah, on
off the wall. I thought that's right. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
in game 3. But he's got an option that has to be picked up if they're going to trade him, right?
Oh, they're gonna pick up his
Polanco
option for sure. They're gonna both of them. They're gonna pick up. I think Max's is much considerably higher though than Polanco's. Polanco's is only like 10 or something.
Isn't Kepler's? Let's look it up here. So
14,
Kepler,
14.
they both signed very similar contracts. So
Yes.
Kepler's option, it's a
10.
It's a $10 million team option with a $1 million buyout.
They'll pick that up for sure, 100%. And they'll pick up Polanco's is only
Polanco's is 10. It's 10. They're both 10. Yep.
And I think Polanco's got another.
He does. He's got a 12er in 2025 if you want.
Hey, how about? I got a thought though. Polanco at first base.
Wow.
Because we might be seeing the end of the wait for Kirilloff. Maybe he's never going to get healthy. How about him at first base?
Had not thought about that, but it doesn't. You don't have a lot of. I was thinking there's got to be someone you can just sign in free agency to stand over there and hit some bombs and whatever. But Polanco's a good hitter.
Yes, he is.
And it'll maybe keep him healthy. I don't know. Just stand over there and make sure you can scoop some errant throws.
You gotta just learn to scoop Carlos's one hopper that he throws over there, and everything will be fine. That might work. That just came to me as from
Look at that.
But hey, we will look back at this team fondly because they won one. That was the whole goal.
Yep.
Win one. Now I had a little chat with AJ leaving. He was leaving the booth yesterday, and he did point out very accurately that Toronto wasn't that good. They won 2 from Toronto, and going in, you were a little nervous. But when you looked at the lineup, when they have to have Matt Chapman, who's going so bad he's hitting 7th or 8th, and they had who was hitting 4? They had Brandon Belt hitting 2nd. He can't hit a fastball. So they were, and Vlad didn't have a great year. He had a good year. Bichette's great, but the Twins might have beat Toronto because they're better than Toronto.
I think so. Yeah.
That's probably the reason they beat Toronto. And, also taking Jose Barrios out of the game might have been something to do with it too. But, so I don't know. We came home, we were optimistic. There's a headline in the Strip today that said heartbroken fans. Way too early to be heartbroken. You had to win 10 more games. This is not 1987 or 1981, 91, folks. This is a marathon.
It's the hockey playoffs now.
This is
way more like that.
You got to win 13 games. You've only won 3. You had 10 left to win when you came home. So it's not heartbreak time. You got to wait to be heartbroken.
It's dismayed fans at worst. They're dismayed. They're not heartbroken.
I give the fans a lot of credit, though. They were way more enthused and into it, and the place was a lot more jammed than I thought it was going to be. People got. I think that it sounds silly when we talk about it, but all the other failure in town probably helped them, right? I mean, people love to rip the cheap poll ads and blah, 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 but hey, they won a series. They won a series, something the Wild hasn't done since 2015. And the Vikings have won one playoff game and in a certain amount of time. And it's, so that had to help them. And it is funny, though. I think they, as bad as we felt about them in July, I think they go into next season with people feeling good about it.
They do.
Agree with
They're gonna sell some season tickets off this,
Yeah.
and they should. And Royce Lewis is a huge part of it. And Carlos Correa maybe being fully healthy next year is gonna spark some optimism.
Carlos Correa going from, why did they sign that guy to be popular? Now he gets a big ovation while they're booing the rest of the Astros. People have taken notice of how great he is at shortstop, and he, the whole leader thing is, to me, what you say in a clubhouse and all that's crapola, but you can see him come into the picture, and he's not coming in there to be an observer. He has something to tell the guy a lot of times that makes a lot of sense to the pitcher. I'm sure, he has a great sense for the game, and that he makes him. I've said it 20 times. They're so much classier of a team because he's playing shortstop for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the fact he cheated, come on, get over it. It's no problem.
Well, I think everyone here is definitely over it. I don't think anyone here.
The fact Altuve cheated, come on, get over it.
I went looking for Presley down in the clubhouse. I couldn't find him because they had the curtain. They had this vinyl up all around it, so they went and sprayed. But then when they were getting dressed, they were behind this vinyl, so you couldn't get them in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
But I ran into him walking out with his wife. They were heading for the thing, and talked to him for a minute. Good guy. I'm glad to see him. We loved him, not us, but the fans loved to abuse him when he came in as an unprepared Rule 5 guy that they were smart enough to keep around.
Yeah.
Now he's closing World Series games, and
that was one of Terry Ryan had a rough go, kind of that second stint, but that was him, right? He identified Presley and the scouting department.
Yeah, probably the second best ever Rule 5er, Johan being number 1, and of course,
but Scott Diamond being in the mix there.
Yeah, right.
Don't forget Shane Mack. Come on,
let's not forget
Shane Mack his props.
Let's not forget the shortstop Morban, who we had to make room for. So we let Big Papi go so we could draft Jose Morban. So, and he had 2 home runs in his career, but they were both for Baltimore, I think.
Oh, no.
So we got a few less. So we didn't get much. That one didn't work out as well. And we need some room on the 40 man so we can make a Rule 5 draft. Let's let Big Papi go because he wants 900,000.
Incredible. Incredible. Well, Pat, we'll do it again tomorrow. If you have additional Twins thoughts, we can talk more tomorrow, and then we can talk some Vikings and some other nonsense for the Friday show.
My Viking thought is, I've been saying all year that the football gods would get them, but I didn't think they'd get them like this. Not with Jefferson. I mean, it's time to pack it in and tank it. If you go to lose Chicago and get beat Sunday, it's forget it, right?
Seifert asked Kirk about waiving the no trade yesterday. Kirk was not very happy about the line of questioning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk is,
He broke eye contact very quickly to dismiss it.
I don't think Kirk on the whole is playing as well as he did last year.
I think that's accurate.
Kirk is very much.
He had some big numbers the first 3 games, but a lot of them were,
Kirk is right back to being the guy he was for the majority of his time here, which is a statistical success. But they're not having as much success, which is why when his stats are down, he was actually better.
I give the most credit I give to him and that whole team, though, is Hawkinson. He got his ear infection and didn't play, and they convinced him to give him this huge contract, and now he catches about 1 out of every 3 passes they throw to him. So it's good for him. I like it when somebody can. I hate to use this word, but I can't think of a better one. When a player can screw an NFL team out of money, I'm in favor of him.
You're in favor, yeah.
He's got turkey potential, Pat. Don't kid yourself.
No.
He should be at the banquet.
No, well, there's a lot of candidates. Don't count out Cheryl Reeve.
Hey, keep that Max Kepler stat in mind when you're putting people at that table.
Max deserves to be at the table, too.
Well, all right, gents. See ya.
Bye.
All right. See you, Pat. Royce Unchained here. SKOR North YouTube channel as well. See you guys.